Hello, everybody. This is Janice Masters, the Shaman Mama from janicemasters.com. And I am the owner of Spiral Path Coaching. I'm someone who works with amazing women who want even more joy and success in their lives. And I work with the men who love them, too. We have lots of men who love us and whom we love. So I've been doing this work for a long time, almost 40 years. And I'm doing this Facebook Live challenge this month. I've agreed to do a Facebook Live every day for the month of August, which is great because I had decided that I was going to do, 2 Facebook Lives a week as part of my business and to launch my new website. So if you'd like to visit it, it's at www.janicemasters.com. So today, I want to show you something because it's so funny. I've used my laptop before to do a Facebook Live, and I was very distracted and disconcerted that it had everything backwards, which it does. It's okay. The painting is on my other side. But what is cool is that if I want to show you something like this card that I showed yesterday from the Gaia Oracle deck, Enchanted Forest, this shows up the right way so you can actually read it. And the reason I'm showing you this is because when I pulled it yesterday, I read a little bit of the message that comes with that card, and it basically said, hey, you know what? Things are changing up pretty quickly, and guess what? You are on a magical mystery tour. And I thought, wow, isn't that the coolest thing for us to think about with this magical mystery tour of Facebook Live through issues that come up on the spiral path as we're reaching for our personal growth, our spiritual development, evolving into the amazing creatures that we already are, even more so. Hey, Susan, thank you so much for being here. I always love seeing you here. So we're going to talk about today awakening challenges on the spiral path. Now, the fact of the matter is everybody has challenges in their lives, all kinds of challenges. And they run on a continuum from, not so bad to, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? The ones we're talking about are at the, oh my gosh, are you kidding me end of the spectrum. So those are the ones that, well, let me preface this by saying something. I had a client session earlier today, last session before I'm doing this Facebook Live. And guess what issue my client presented with? Her big awakening challenge. And she's been in a challenge for a while. She's been suffering, but she just got, this really is an awakening challenge. This is about me maybe getting closer to God, maybe finding out more about myself. I'm not even sure. I just know that there's something important in this for me. And I thought, gosh, well, first of all, she's just the most amazing woman. And so I really validated her for her awareness, her consciousness about this challenge. But I also loved the synchronicity of that particular issue showing up in a client session right before this Facebook Live. So those awakening challenges, the ones on that end of the spectrum, they're the ones which, as I like to say, because I've been through a few myself, these are the ones that we think, this just might kill me. It just might be the end of me because we suffer so much. They present obstacles that we are in immediate resistance to. Sometimes it may be an illness and we're like, damn, no, I'm not living my life with this. Sometimes it might be an injury, like maybe an automobile accident and some pretty serious injuries. I have a friend who likes to kite surf, and he had an accident several years ago that broke all of his ribs on one side, and that kind of thing. It could be family. It could be about relationship. Those are just so heartbreakingly difficult and arduous because we have an ideal of how we want our families to be. We have an ideal of how we want our relationships to be, and that stick in the bicycle spokes sends us flying off the handlebars and right into our spiritual awakening challenge. Could be about finances, because that's a big one. When the bottom falls out and we don't have the money that we believe we need in order to maintain our lives and our lifestyles, It strikes right at our egos, doesn't it? That's the thing about all of these awakening challenges. They are about challenging our ego as our mode of identification. I can tell you that before my first marriage ended, when we were in the last days of it and things were very conflicted, oh my gosh, I was suffering. I had anxiety. Didn't have panic attacks. Now those went away many years before, but I did have anxiety in my gut and my solar plexus. And that was about my resistance, my ego's resistance to what was happening. And that's what makes us suffer. Without resistance, there's no suffering. Okay? So sometimes it's not like an event, like an illness or an injury or something. Sometimes it's an ongoing chronic issue that perhaps you feel like you've been dealing with it your whole life, and you keep cycling around to it, and you're like, oh my God, not this again. Why can't I resolve this? That's life on the spiral path, my friends. You know, the spiral path is that path that we're all on, and we keep going around as we rise higher and higher in consciousness and awakening, and we think, what the heck is wrong with me? I alluded to this yesterday. What's wrong with me that I'm going through these same issues again and again and again? This is ridiculous. When am I going to be done with this? Well, first of all, you're not going through the same issues. It feels like the same issue, but it's never exactly the same issue, because every time you've gone through it, you've changed it. You've healed something that you won't ever have to deal with again. And the other thing is, you're not the same person each time you go through these issues on the spiral path. You've evolved, you've changed, you've healed. So first thing to think about when we suspect that we're in an awakening challenge is to be very, very kind and gentle with yourself, to be very patient. Our first line of defense, because this strikes at the heart of our ego, whose job it is to preserve and protect us, first line of defense is to fight back and make this thing go away. You know, I can remember, this was about a decade ago, my son, who was a young teenager at that time, was in very dire straits. He was really spiraling out of control emotionally. And my older child, my daughter, was so freaked out by it all that she just distanced herself from him and us and everything. And oh my gosh, it was so painful for me as the mom who felt responsible for all of it. Of course, I've since learned that I'm not responsible for it. Everybody's on their own path. Everybody's going to either create or respond to the challenges that are going to catapult them into the next level of consciousness. That's what these are about. Initially, we don't go willingly. Ego fights it tooth and nail. Again, when I was in the latter stages of my first marriage, and this was over 35 years ago, I was in such pain because I was fighting it every step of the way. Now, if that marriage hadn't ended, I never would have met my soulmate, the love of my life, and been together with him for now going on 34 years. So, but I was the one who was like, really, this, thank you so much. This is what you want to give me? And so we will fight. But those chronic issues that keep knocking us to our knees, I like to think of them as the ones that keep us crawling back to, however you want to frame your higher power, your soul, your God, your divinity, because we forget, you know, we're human and we're wired for humanity and we're wired for divinity. And we forget about our divinity, and those chronic issues, whether it's weight, whether it's compulsions and addictions, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's attracting abusive, toxic relationships, whether it's not succeeding in our business, whether it's not being willing to push the limits of our creativity, whatever it is, keeps on knocking us to our knees again and again and again, and putting us in touch with, well, I better find a different way to do this. I better find a different part of me to bring forward so that I can navigate this, because it's all about navigating it. If we are able to negotiate with ego and move ego out of the way and give ego things to do that really are in ego's wheelhouse, then we can bring our divinity forward. Then we can bring our surrender forward. Then we can allow what wants to happen to propel us and to shape us and to heal us and to steer our evolution into the person we actually came here to be. Hi, Gina. Thank you so much. So nice to see you here. Thank you, thank you. I know time is precious. So, my client came today with this issue, and she has been suffering with this relationship issue for quite a while. And what she has recognized is that she doesn't have to suffer anymore, even though things are not going to go the way she thought they would. And that, of course, is when we have to deal with the death of the dream of how it was supposed to be. She's recognized that she is in charge of whether she suffers about this or not. I love, she said something to me about the fact that she had made this firm vow she was not going to contact him again. And she said to me, you know what? I did contact him, only this time I didn't feel ashamed of myself for doing it. You know what a huge leap that is in self-love and self-respect and kindness? So there's so much we could talk about with respect to these awakening challenges on the spiral path, but they are what bring us to the next level of consciousness. And as I believe, and I know a lot of you believe, anything that we heal in ourselves that brings us to the next level of consciousness helps to elevate the whole of humanity to the next level of consciousness. So tomorrow I'm going to be talking about something that came to me several years ago, which now I think people are kind of familiar with, and they are my what if quantum questions. They are a way to whatever challenges we're dealing with, whether it's a small one, whether it's a big one, whether it's an awakening challenge. They came to me at a time when I was in resistance to my awakening challenge. And they are quantum questions that invite us to elevate our thinking and our beliefs to a higher level that gives us more peace. Susan says, I can definitely relate to dealing with a wild child, toxic marriage, a 10-year-long financial debacle that I did think was going to kill me. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Hi, Palma. I'm glad to see you're here too. Exactly. And you had them sandwiched one on top of the other, didn't you, Susan? Yeah. Yeah. And it's not an exaggeration to say we think it's going to kill us. I'm not going to survive this. And the reason for that is that ego really doesn't believe she will survive it. That's who's afraid of being obliterated, not our divinity, not our soul. Our soul knows we're up to any challenge. It's like years ago when I was doing a past life regression with a dear client, and she was remembering a past life in which she was Jewish, and she was on the ground face down with the boot of an SS officer on her back. And this is exactly what she remembered saying out loud. You can hurt me, you can kill me, but you can never touch my soul. That's the thing to remember about these awakening challenges. So I have vowed to keep these between 5 and 15 minutes long because I know your time is precious. And I want to keep them kind of condensed, but I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about what if quantum questions. Palma says, because we are warriors. No kidding. You especially, of all people, know that. You've got a challenges that would have killed a weaker person. But you are definitely a warrior, Palma. I vow to you, and I love you, girl. So I'm going to close. Thank you for being here, and thank you whoever else might be watching in the future as you watch the recording of this. I'll be back tomorrow talking about what if quantum questions, and in the meantime, you can visit me at janicemasters.com, and if you'd like to have a complimentary get acquainted conversation with me because you think you might like to work with me, then go to janicemasters.com/contact, CONTACT, contact. Okay, I love you all. Thank you for being here, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.